We are continuing with the poem To Autumn, written by John Keats. The second stanza begins with a rhetorical question, a query which does not ask for a reply, but which calls attention to the conspicuousness of the point being made. Who hath not seen oft amid thy store? In this insistence, Keats provides a sequence of tableaux, all catching autumn in representative pictures. There are 4 tableaux in all, each to repeat with autumn in an activity typical to her season. The fruit is of grain being cleansed of chaff. This rather routine affair following the harvest grains force and individuality from speakers comparing the pile of grain being shifted by workers with a young girl sitting careless on a granary floor. The tufts of golden seeds as they fly to the separating wind are transformed into hair soft lifted. For all her maternal life bearing power, autumn nevertheless retains a touch of girlishness and levity, as suggested by her billowing and blonde tresses. The second tableau is of a field hand asleep against a half reaped furrow. Although sleep suggests inactivity, the rugged intensity of that sleep implies heightened psychic awareness. Even the worker's scythe, suspended as it is in mid gesture, conveys the feeling of relaxed tension. In this vignette, the store amid which the season is found is the poppies, which add the feeling of blissful indulgence to the sense of maturity. From the reaper, the ode moves to gleaner. There is something elegant about the worker poised with laden head while crossing a brook. The fourth and the last tableau is of a worker at a cider press, watching the final drops of crushed fruit. In each instance, autumn is in some way listless, fatigued, asleep, or potentially staring. Careless does not mean clumsy or idle, but rather free of worry. What does autumn of concern? What frees autumn of concern is the enormous energy which has gone before the acts in which she is now caught. The full granary seems to stand alone as a picture of abundance, but the other 3 tableaux suggest a progression. The reaper clears the crop, the gleaner picks up after the reaper, the worker witnessed the last oozings of the fruit being squeezed into cider. Each activity brings us nearer to the end of autumnal progression and therefore nearer to the end of nature's annual cycle of life. The last stanza opens with a question designed to console. It is addressed to autumn. Where are the songs of spring? To ask about the music of younger season is indirectly to concede 2 things: the death of things hinted at the end of second stanza and the absence of a young spring in which sounds are so common. Having entertained the idea of death, the imminence of death at least, and having recalled the keener auditory appeal of his spring, the speaker moves on to reconcile himself and autumn to these admissions of imperfections. And now we move on to the thematic pattern in To Autumn. As we move ahead, we come to know that in both its form and descriptive surface, To Autumn is one of the simplest of Keats' odes. There is nothing confusing or complex in Keats' Paean to the season of autumn. With its fruitfulness, its flowers, and the song of swallows gathering for migration, the extraordinary achievement of this poem lies in its ability to suggest, explore, and develop A rich abundance of themes without ever ruffling its calm, gentle, and lovely description of autumn. Where Odin melancholy presents himself as a strenuous heroic quest, to autumn is concerned with the much quieter activity of daily observation and appreciation. In this quietude, the gathered themes of the preceding odes find their fullest and most beautiful expression. To autumn takes up where the other odes leave off, like the flowers and other things. It shows Keats' speaker paying homage to particular goddess, in this case, the deity of autumn. The selection of this season implicitly takes up other odes' themes of temporality, mortality, and change. Autumn in Keats' odes is a time of warmth and plenty, but it is perched on the brink of winter's desolation. As the bees enjoy later flowers, the harvest is gathered from the fields, the lambs of springs are now full grown, and in the final line of the poem, the swallows gather for their winter migration. To understand sense of inevitable loss in the final line makes it one of the most moving moments in all of poetry. It can be read as a simple, uncomplaining summation of the entire human condition. Despite all the coming chill of winter, the late warmth of autumn provides a speaker with ample beauty to celebrate the cottage and its surroundings in the first stanza, the agrarian haunts of the goddess in the second, the locales of the natural creatures in the third. Keats' speaker is able to experience these beauties in a sincere and meaningful way because of the lessons he has learned in the previous odes. He is no longer indolent, no longer committed to the isolation of imagination, no longer attempting to escape the pain of the world through ecstatic rapture, no longer frustrated by the attempt to eternalize mortal beauty or subject eternity of time, and no longer able to frame the connection of pleasure and the sorrow of loss only as imaginary heroic quest. Thank you. Thank you so much.